Hey guys, welcome to this video, and today we're going to make authentication in MongoDB in Node.js using MongoDB. So one second. So basically, you will get to know about how do you do authentication using MongoDB with the Node.js. We'll register the user, we'll delete the user, we'll modify few parameter, few values in the user. We will actually log in the user. We will actually see if the user is logged in or not. So we're gonna do a lot of stuff in this video. And first of all, make sure to install the MongoDB Compass and MongoDB itself. You can just go to the MongoDB website and just install that. And you can also see how do we add MongoDB bin to the environment variables. You can find that on Google. So yeah, after that, first of all, we will be creating connecting with our MongoDB connection, and we'll go to databases and create a new database. We'll say with the name of outside, and we'll give it a random connection name, maindb. It's important to give it any collection name while you are creating a database in the start, so it will make sure it will have at least one collection. So database is like a room, and collection is like a box, inventory box in the room. So you can have many rooms in the building. So this MongoDB is like a building, and in it have different databases, which means different rooms. And database has many collections, which means a room can have many boxes. And collection actually have different uh, books. Let's say you have a book, and all the books have same thing. All the books have same questions, like what is your name, where are you from. So all the books will have same questions. It will have many books, but all the answers will be different, all the values will be different. So that's that thing. Now we have this one outside as a database. We'll make it a new folder real quick. We'll say mongo auth. We'll open it with using VS Code, and I will quickly initialize every single damn thing. We'll first of all initialize an empty node application using npm init -y, and then we will install few dependencies. We'll install the express JavaScript for the server, .env for getting the environment variables, JSON web token for actually creating the tokens, bcrypt.js for hashing our password, cookie parser for actually reading the values in our cookie, mongoose for actually setting up our database, and what else is there? Is there anything else? Okay, we have body parser for actually reading the recursive body things. You can actually say, you might think we can say recursive body dot username. It will actually show us the username. But if you just type recursive body, it will not show you anything. So if you want to see how many how many objects you get from there, you can just have body parser. So it will actually help you to get to that position. So we have body parser in there, and then we have uh, happy slash joy. So it's actually a structured check validator. Let's say your MongoDB. Let's say you have a user table. In the user table, you want to add a new user. So you need to make sure that user it has a username of type string. It has minimum characters of 6 length. And are you going to do all of the thing using a for else condition? No. The better way is using the happy slash joy validator. So it will do all of the things by itself without you doing anything. Okay, do we need anything else? Did we miss anything? I don't think so. Okay, that's good. Now first of all, let's create a folders. We'll create a routes folder for mentioning having of all of our routes. Let's say user will go to slash login, he need to see some files. So that's how we're going to provide the file using the routes folder. And we're going to have a public folder. In the public folder we will actually have our login.html, and we will have our register.html. Both the files are going to be like register. It's going to have input of id username multiplied by 2. Okay, so both are not going to be actually username. One is going to be password. Say username is like that, and password is like that. Okay, we have username and password. Then we have a button with the id of submit. Is going to be register. We're going to say have a script submit. Okay, submit dot add event listener LISTENER. We will add an event listener for this button. If someone clicked on the button, or what we want to do, we want to say do a fetch request to slash API slash register. We'll set up the route real quick after some time, and we want the method to be post, or we want the body to be as JSON or stringify. We want the data as, so we want the username as, we want the value of username to be username.value. Then we want another object of password with the value of password of value. After this one, we want headers. It should have a content type of, we'll be submitting this content as JSON, so we'll say application slash JSON, and then we'll wait for response from the server as response. We'll take the response as response.json. We'll convert it to .json, and we'll get the data, and we'll just console log the data, copy all the damn thing, paste it here, change register to login, change this register to login. So yeah, we are good to go with this one. Now let's set up the routes. Let's say page of JavaScript. Let's say constant router is equal to require express the router. Now we can say router dot get. If someone goes to slash login, we should get the request response from the user, and we should send him a file, send him the file of login.html, which is located in the root folder of public slash. Same goes for the register one. Someone goes to slash register URL, you should be able to see that. Now we will export the router module as default like that. Okay, now let's make another folder for the controllers, which will have our slash API slash register stuff like that. We'll have an app.js. We will have same thing like that. Instead of having a get request, we'll have a post request for the register one, and like that. I'm gonna say console the log request request the body. Okay, we'll do the same thing for the login also. Instead of, we're not going to make it post request, we're going to make it put request, just to make some differences. It will not affect anything, but it's just for better understanding. Post requests are usually standard for if you want to create something. Put requests are usually use it for if you want to check something. So in the login, say method is called the put instead of post. Okay, we're going to go with the app one also. Now let's make our main server. We're going to say constant express is equal to require express constant. Okay, why do I wear headphones but I don't need them? Constant dot env is equal to require dot, okay, dot env dot config, so we'll be able to use the process.env throughout the whole server. Constant cookie is equal to require cookie parser, and constant app is equal to express constant mongoose is equal to require mongoose is actually a mongodb. Do we miss something? Okay, we missed the body parser, but no, we didn't miss actually. We will pass it as a middleware of require body parser dot json. Okay, we'll say app dot use cookie. We'll pass it as a middleware. So we'll say app dot listen on port 3000, and we'll pass a few more middleware functions to it. pass middle function of. If someone will go to slash URL, he should see his request should be redirected slash route slash pages. But if someone will go do some requests to slash API, then something. So his request should go to controllers slash app, and there will manage that. We will see here we're saying slash API slash, and here slash API slash register slash login. Here we're saying only slash, that means slash then login or register. So that's how we do it. We set up our mongoose. Now we need to connect our MongoDB. We'll say mongoose.connect. Here we need to mention our URL. So by default the URL is mongodb // here you need to mention the local host with the port, but I will not prefer to mention localhost because there's some issues. There's some timeout after 10 seconds, so I would prefer to mention 127.0.0.1 with the port of 27017. It will be default in all the MongoDB databases. Now we need to have a slash and write the name of your database. In our case, that is auth site. You can check it right now. You can see auth site databases. Here you can see auth site is the name of a database, and it can have a callback function, but that callback function will only be run once if the connection is succeed. If the connection is not successful, the callback function will not be called. So yeah, you need to keep that in mind. If you say node more now, everything is working pretty fine. You can actually go to our slash register URL, and here we have register and password. Basically you can make requests to that one, you will get the responses accordingly. What we can do, we have another option also. We can have a thumbnail client option. So thumbnail client will actually so thumbnail client is an extension that makes requests in the VS Code itself just for you checking if the things are working pretty fine or not. So we have a JSON, we'll have a username of Elderny, and we will have password of someone. Make the request. You can see we got the username and the password because we consider the login here, the request body. So now we will make a model for all that will actually contain the structure of a user, like what should be the username, like how many items should the user table contain, something like that. Actually the collection will contain. So we're going to say constant mongoose is equal to require mongoose. We'll say constant user schema, just a variable. User schema is equal to mongoose.schema. It will create a new structure. So first of all we need to make sure that there should be a username. We need to get the username, and we'll say first of all the type of this username, the value, whatever value we'll provide in here should be of type string. And is it important to you give this username while you're adding some new data to the table? Let's say we're adding some new data to the collection of users. So yeah, it is required, and there should be a minimum limit in the characters of 6 length, and the maximum character should be of 20 length. Just correct copy this one. We'll just apply same thing for password. Sorry, my grandma came here. So yeah, we will add the password. Now we will have another one as a date. So date is going to be of type date, but it's not required. So we'll have a default value of the date as date down now. So whatever the date will be at that current point when we will make a request to create a new entry to the users collection. It will have a date, it will have another value, another item or another object as date, which will have a type of date, and its default value will be date or now. We don't have to provide the date. Maybe we can provide the date, but by default it's, maybe we can also provide the date, but it's not required. And if we do not provide the date, it will be taken as the default value of date or now. That means the current date of that point where you will be adding this thing. Now here we'll say model.exports will export the mongoose model. Will wrap this everything inside a model, and we need to name the model. We'll set the model name as user or users. I will mention another thing. Okay, the user schema is this one. So if you just do like mongoose model, and here you will provide the name user. This, if if you have name provided, if you have provided the name like capital user, it will be converted into smaller user, and then one s will be added. This user will become users. So basically, if you want to specifically only make them schema name as make the collection name as user, you need to make sure that thing is done right there. Just add a comma and add a collection. Yeah, now here name it as user. So whatever you add here will not be taken in condition. Whatever will be added here will be taken as as a strict condition. It will be strictly written this thing, not the user stuff like that. So it's all up to your choices, whatever you want to do. So I'll just stick around with the default thing because I don't really much mind anything. Users, I will add just as myself. Okay, I don't care. Or you cannot add as by yourself, so it's just the same thing. Now we created a schema. What we will be doing right now, we just say constant get the schema. We'll say constant user is equal to require the schema from the model folder. Okay, now we need to also get the validation. We need to validate if our if whatever data we're getting from the user client side is actually valid and is actually okay to be moved ahead, is actually okay to move ahead and actually get into the database. And then we will do the things further. We'll see if the user is registered already or not, and that's another thing. But first of all, we need to validate the schema. We need to check this, if the structure is valid or something like that. So for that, we will create validation.js inside validation.js inside the controllers. We'll say constant joy is equal to require as to happy slash joy, and we will have a schema right there. I will not prefer you to have a schema like this because you need to have schema inside the different functions. Let's say I have a function of register v means register validator. It will contain the data. We'll pass the data. We'll actually export this function, and when we import the function here, we'll pass the recursive body inside it. So the data is actually recursive body. Here you need to put the schema in here, so you can have different schemas for all the different validations you want to check. But for now, we only have the register and the login, so we don't really much have a different schemas. But we can have different schemas like different. Okay, we will actually have different schemas because we have schemas for the we'll actually have delete user and the edit user, so we can have different schemas for that one. So let's have a schema, and this is going to be a joy.object. It's first of all going to have a username, and that is going to be a type of joy.string, and it's important, it's required, so we need to have dot required, and minimum characters should be 6 length and the maximum character should be 20 length. And you can see it does have a lot more options. It has case, bind, stuff like it has also email, empty, equal, error, example, stuff like that. You can see lowercase, you can make sure it's lowercase. So yeah, it has a lot more options. You can do stuff like that. We need to make sure another value we get is password. That should be also type string. That should be also required. That is also required. But it's not given password, it will throw error. And the minimum is 6, and the maximum value should be about 40. Now our schema is ready. We will say constant error. So basically we're just saying whatever we get from this one. Okay, well, let me show you this one. So schema dot validate. We're gonna validate the value, the data with the no, actually we validate the data. So basically this will return us the values back if there's if this schema was properly validated and there were no issues were found. But if there's some error, like we need to get the schema dot validate data, then dot error. If there's some error, then what we have to do, we will say if error is present, then we will say return error. So it will have error dot details, so the details, the first index, then dot message. Actually, let me just return the error back, otherwise I will return nothing. Okay, another one for the login validation. Module.exports is equal to login and the register. Maybe you can have it like that, or you can have it like that. Doesn't really matter. This one. Yeah, we will say import login validation and the register validation. Require, not actually import. Constant. I'm more into Python, man. Is equal to require, not dot slash, just dot slash validation. Instead of doing constant log, we'll say register v, give it request dot body, and constant log the value we get from it. Okay, now let's go to over here. Make a register. Okay, joy or string is not required. It's not a function. Okay, my bad. Required. Not required is not a function. I said required. My bad. Let's make a request. We get undefined because all of the things were valid, so we didn't got to see any error. But if this is smaller, what's going to happen? We can see we got the error, and then we got this thing right there. Then this is the origin details that we got. You can see where I did the error dot details. Choose the array, the first index of the array. That means this section. Then 0 dot, then dot message. It ratio username must be, length must be at least 6 characters long. So that's why I did that. Okay, we'll say return error dot details like the first one, then send the message back. Good. I mean, app in this section, what we're gonna say, constant valid is equal to constant. It's valid is equal to register v request dot body. Let check if it's valid or not. I want to say if it is valid, didn't return anything. Okay, if it is valid, it returns something. Is not valid. If is not valid, it returns something, which means something like error. What we're gonna do, we're gonna say console the log is not valid. Otherwise, we'll say console the log good to go. Instead of saying is not valid, we can say just it's not valid. So basically, the value that we get from it. Okay, now let's make a request and let's see. Username length must be at least 6 characters long. So that means this all is working pretty fine. We don't have to actually say like console log. Let's say response.json. Or actually JSON also. For now, we'll just say response.send. Those will say response.send something else. Okay, if this is not the condition, we'll just say just return it. Okay. If this was a thing, just return this. So basically, whatever we write between after this one will not be actually able to happen. Okay, we're good to go for now. Now we will actually register the user. Now, how do we actually register the user? Well, we have to say first of all, you could say user dot create indexes or create collection. For registering a new user, you have to say constant new user is equal to new. You need to create a new type of user. So this schema will follow the schema added inside the user schema. Here you need to type the username, which is the request dot body dot username password request dot body dot Okay, dot password like that. Okay, good to go. Now we have to say new user dot save. Okay, one second. Okay, so actually the dot save is a function of uh, Mongoose. It gives us dot save means just save this thing inside of the user the user model. So that's why we created a new user model and we're gonna save it. Now it will return us few things in return. Say dot then or we get to see the data. I'm gonna say console the log the data. It will return us the data back. Let's say it saved the data inside the database. It returns back with the data with the ID of the thing with every single thing we did, actually registered. We have to actually console the log. We're gonna say response dot send the data to the user. Let's see our database currently is empty. It doesn't have anything. Okay, it does a username because we have it's running. I drop the database and see for now we don't have anything here. Let's just make a request to this one. A wrong request. You can see what they shows at the as the error. Made a right request. Okay, we got to see the username, the password, the ID, the date when it was added, and we're gonna just refresh this one. We have users, and inside the users we have one guy that is Elderny. So he was registered. Good to know Elderny was registered, right? Okay. So that's how registration actually occurs. Now let's say if there was something wrong happened. We're gonna have a try catch block. We're gonna have error. Okay, response dot send the error. If some error happened, just try to do this. If some error happened, just show the error. Okay, we're gonna do the same. Try to do the same thing. Okay, it will actually create Elderny in someone with a different ID. So we did not put any check if Elderny is already registered or not, something like that. Okay. We need to put a check for that. We can check for that. We can say user dot find what we want to find. We want to find the guy where username is equal to request dot body dot username. If it returns something, which means is old user. Let's say if it's not old user, or let's say if it's old user, return with response dot send uh, username or pass no username already registered. Alrighty, we're just gonna return the thing. Otherwise, we're gonna save him. Let's make a request again. Username is already registered, and that's true because we already have usernames. We actually have two usernames with the same thing. So we'll delete one of them. Now it will not allow us to make any more username under the same username. Let's change the username to Elderny1. Okay, still saying it's the same thing. Okay, let's see the issue. If old user defined username, user defined whatever the username is for that. Also the log old user. So this. Sorry, my bad. We'll just say find one. Okay, we'll just say find one guy. We're not finding a lot of guys. Or the find one actually is depreciated, so it will not work now. If I do something like that, username is already registered. Elderny1. It just still says username is already registered. Just give me a moment. I'm gonna consult the log. All user, what data it is does it give back? Okay. Query execution, something like that. Promise, get the promise. User dot find filter. Actually, I'm correct. I don't know what's the issue. Just give me a moment. Okay, so we were doing the right thing, but the wrong way. So it will return, it will return a promise. It will take some time for the thing, for the find one to actually work with the database. We need to make this function async function, and we'll say await for the response from user the find one. We only need to find one username with the username of user name. Let's do that. Okay, connection was reviewed. Username is already registered, and one. Yeah, we registered a new user. You can see in the database. It actually registered another username. We will have the same thing, and it will still show you username is already registered. Or good to go with that one. Now we made those two things. We're still going to have a try catch block. I'm going to say console.log error. It's not going to show us any error, but in case if we were not able to save the user, then we should do something like that. We should always have a try catch block. So yeah, we are done with the user registration. Now user can be registered easily. We'll set up this in our HTML within a minute, but now let's go to this section. Okay, we'll do the same with here. Login validation is not valid. It's not valid. If it's valid, then what should happen? Constant is old is equal to user dot find one guy with the username of request dot body dot username. If is old is not, it didn't return. I think I want to say return response dot send email or password is incorrect. Okay, say email or password is incorrect. You'll maybe when I notice that I actually didn't have any password yet. So why did I say that? I said this because just to confuse the user. If someone is trying to hack someone's account, he should know if the username is incorrect or if the password is incorrect. Just to know that. And we did encrypt our password, and now let's encrypt our password. Actually, we'll say constant password as in pass. Now let's get the password as guess.body dot password. Request the body. Let's get the password and the username. We'll provide it here. Username, but here we'll provide the encrypted password that will be in pass. Once a constant password is going to be await decrypt dot hash hash, it will hash the password in pass, and we'll hash it 10 times. So we'll here provide the password, and yeah, it should work completely fine. Now if we delete all of our existing data in here, where nothing in there, we'll make a new request. Here you can see we'll get an encrypted password, hashed password actually. So yeah, this is something we need to make sure to have. So basically, what we're doing, we're just having is old. Now email password is incorrect. Otherwise, we'll just say user. Okay. If there is no user, then show this. Or what we do, constant uh, uh, valid pass is equal to, we'll do user dot uh, okay. So how do we know if the password is valid or not? We're gonna say bcrypt dot compare the request dot user dot password with the user dot password. So it's actually the database password, whatever we have inside here. It's going to compare them. It's actually going to, it's actually going to make this password also hash it. It's not actually going to make this hashed password inside a real password, but instead it's going to hash about current password, and it's going to check if both hashes are same, then they're both are same. If not, then they are not the same. We'll say await async function, and await for this one also valid pass. If valid pass was wrong, then we may want to return the same thing. Otherwise, if they both are correct, what we want to do, we'll say instead of, now we'll say make a token. Now the token is going to have JWT. I mean JSON web token. We're going to say constant JWT is equal to require JSON web token. So here we'll say JWT dot sign. We will sign a new ID here with ID object with the user dot underscore ID, and it's going to have a secret key that's going to come from process dot env dot JWT underscore secret. It's going to have options that's going to contain our expires an option, which is actually going to come from process.env.jwt expires. That's for the token. Then we have cookie options as http only should be true. Expires in should be new date. We'll create a new date in which first of all we have our date dot now multiplied by how many days we want it to survive. That is process.env cookie underscore expires multiplied by 24 multiply by 60, which means 60 minutes. 1 hour contains 60 minutes, 1 minute contains 60 seconds, and 1 second contains 1000 milliseconds. We need to convert this into a milliseconds. This expires in, and in here we only have to have like a 90D or 1H, something like that. 90 days, 1 hour. At the end, I want to say response dot cookie. The name of the cookie is going to be log user, and the token is going to be token, and the cookie options are going to be cookie options. And then at the end, what we're going to say user has been logged in. Nice. Get to see a lot of options. I didn't make the env file yet. We'll say env. We have JWT secret limit is anything. JWT expires as 90 days. Let's say 3 months, and cookie expires after 90, which means 90 days. So we use these options, and I actually did provided these options already. Username and password is incorrect, right? Let's make a okay. There's any username here. Yeah, I do hope to see one. Okay, put request to slash login 11. Username and password is incorrect. Okay, now the username is correct, but the password is incorrect. Using okay, the password. Ah, my bad. Because of body dot, not the user. Because of body. Username and password is incorrect. Now let's remove someone. Okay, let's see what we got. We got user has logged in, and we got sent a cookie. So the cookies has this value. Basically, this value has three things. First of all, we have the date the cookie was created, and then we have the ID of the user, and then we have the expiry time of the thing. You can actually go to your browser. You can actually press F12. So cookies, the data stored in the cookies are really not secure. I'm just showing you that thing. Let's press that. Not BTOA. The string is to be decoded is not correctly encoded. Okay. Yeah, we need to only copy the middle one, not the ending ones. So the middle, the middle between the dots, these are secret. These are just for the validations, like to check actually it has not been changed or something like that. So you can see we have the ID of the user, we have the created at, we have the expiry date inside the milliseconds form. So yeah, it's not secure like I told you before. You can really not rely on these things. So basically, yeah, we are done with that one. I will actually apply all these options in the browser itself within a minute. Just give me some time. So what we are doing right now, we just did this thing. We made our cookies go boom, boom, boom. Let's say we want to edit them also. Okay. Okay. So router dot patch. So patch is actually shown, if you want to edit something. Edit user. And goes to slash edit user. I'm gonna first of all validate the things that they are having. So basically, when someone is going to go to edit user, now this time the condition is going to be different. So we will not do like we will not accept any values from the user. User will just come. He will say, "Yeah, I want to edit my username." So we will say, "Okay, you want to edit your username? It's all fine. Just go ahead." So basically, now this time the user is already logged in. So let's suppose the user is already logged in, and only we need is the ID of the username. So what we get, I'm gonna say, let's get rid of all of that stuff. We'll say if request dot cookies dot log user is not there, right? Log user it's not valid. Then return with the response.json, the response.send. Please log in first. But if this is correct, that means it's user has this cookie. Then I want to say constant user is equal to verify. It's just going to verify this cookie. Actually, it's going to take the cookie as request dot cookies dot log user. It's going to have inserted its secret key so that it will see if this connect is actually correct. It's secret. It will actually verify this cookie, all of the the side things we have actually two dots, so the left and right side to actually verify that if something has been edited or not. If not, then I'm gonna say we're gonna get the error and the ID of the user if that's what correct. So if there was some error, then we wanna see the errors maybe. No, then we wanna say return null. Otherwise, return our ID. Okay. Let's say if user Is it called a null? Then we want to say return response to send. Please log in again. Otherwise, that means we got the ID. What we want to do right now, user has probably given us some new password. I want to say it has password is equal to because the body will say constant. Okay, we'll say user dot update one. What we want to update where what update where plus ID is equal to user dot ID. We want to have a $set function. Now what we want to change anything, we want to change the password. We want to change the password to actually just password and password. It will have the value in itself. So we're gonna update it. Once it's updated, we're gonna get the data response.send the data back to the user. Okay, so things go like that. And yeah, I know this is not going to work in this one. In user, we're gonna have a patch request. Please log in first because we don't have any cookies in here. We can mention some cookie maybe. So how to mention the cookie? Let's first of all get the cookie. Let's say login using the put request. User has been logged in. We got the cookie with this value. So okay, how do we actually add the value in this one? Well, never mind. We're just going to set up our actual website. So instead of doing response.send like that, yeah, we can actually do response.send, or we can do response.json, so we can actually get the data in a good way. Data as data, we can do response. Something like that. Response.json. And so it is called this. Close this bracket. And when it comes to editing the user, so let's see, it's called this. This is the JSON. Message is equal that, and the data is JSON. Or request response dot JSON response dot JSON message. Okay. Yeah, I hope we are good to go this one this time. Okay, first time testing in our website itself. I'm gonna have, let's delete everything we have in here. No users right now. Let's make a request to Elderny first user. Okay, it's not a type password. Elderny test. Okay. Now if you click on register option, So basically what happened, password length must be at least 6 characters long. Okay, that's something we should know. It's not valid, and then something like that. We're gonna say hello. We're gonna make another request, and what we got here also must be at least 6 long. Let's say Elderny, right? Elderny. Okay. Now let's do a registration, and let's see what happened. Username. Okay, we got the username. We got the password. We got the ID. Let's say if it was registered. Yes, it was registered successfully. Now let's do a login. Let's do Elderny test. What happened? Password must be at least 6 characters long. I would have to tell them this there, yeah, because they will get aware of that the minimum password is 6 digits, so we need to put the password as 6 digits. But okay, whatever. We just did that right now. Hello world. Let's say that. What happened right now? Username and password is incorrect, and that is true. We have our password is Elderny. You can see for now our applications inside of our cookies. We don't have any cookies here. If we click on login, we got added a cookie with a value distinct, blah blah stuff like that. And here we got return user has been logged in the response like that. And yeah, we got the cookies actually also. Yeah. So we got that one. Let's go to another page. Let's go to another page. Edit user.html. Edit user, and it's going to only contain the password. Edit is going to go to slash API slash edit user. We're gonna have the password value only. It's gonna have another one for the edit. Edit user is going to be edit user.html. Seems good to me. Okay, so basically this request is going to be not put the patch. So edit user, you'll get the only password option. I'm going to say change the password to test. We can okay, so basically here we can also give it another schema. So yeah, how do we give the schema? Let's do the for the validation. Let's say constant edit validation is equal to get the data, make a schema of joy.object. So password is mandatory, or string is required, minimum of 6 characters and maximum of 40 characters. And then we're going to say the same thing. Okay, edit v, we're going to say we imported these two. We also import the edit v. Before doing anything, we will actually first verify this. Okay, now after login, we know the user is logged in, and we have to check these details. Edit v, and yeah, we're good to go right now. You say test. What did it say? It said if you respond to nothing, something happened. Okay, what happened? Bad request API slash edit user. Well, the request is correct. I don't know what's wrong. Router dot slash API slash login, API slash register, and API slash edit user, right? Yeah. Please log in first. Okay, so they do actually get to see something. Work. Refresh this one. Did someone came here? No, it didn't. They didn't even touch this section. I don't know why, but he's not able to get to this one. He's saying, okay, it's a bad request. Method request is patch. Okay, maybe patch doesn't support something like that, so we can just say put registering fine password, nothing else. Yeah, it's all fine. Okay, it was issued with patch. So in the preview we got please log in first, but we are logged in. Log user with a capital U, actually capital U. How about capital U, capital U. Let's do it another time. We're gonna see what password length must be at least 6 characters long. So new pass. Now if you edit it, you're gonna see our new data. Not actually our data is gonna say that it was edited. So basically, now we know that it was edited. Well, this is a bad way to get the things done. Here's what we could have done. I'm gonna say constant change is called the await, and then I'm gonna say response.json message. Well, you could have just done it then like after we get the data, give the data back as message of password changed. Basically, this is not a hashed password as we already know that. Or we can make it hash. It's like in pass constant password await for decrypt dot hash the in pass with the in pass 10 times. Now we get to actually set up another new encrypted password. So you can see if I refresh this one, you will notice that new password was not hashed and encrypted actually. I'm just saying hash it actually, so it wasn't hashed. But now if we try to save it another time, it will be hashed because we're saying decrypt.hash the past 10 times. So this was for the edit user. Now we can also do the same for the delete user if you want to delete the user. All you have to say, we can just copy this one, delete uh delete user. So we're going to say we want to delete any user from the database. Alright, after these things are actually done, we don't need to get anything from the user. Okay, do we need, no, we don't need anything from the user. So probably, oh, okay, let's say we want something from the user. Let's say we want to get ID from the user, so the user will specify the ID. Or what we can do, we can say delete myself, so he will just delete his account. Okay, delete his account. Okay, how do we delete the user's account itself? That's pretty simple to do. What we're gonna do after checking the cookie stuff like that, let's say constant I'm gonna say user dot delete one, delete wherever the ID is equal to user ID. Let's delete that guy. Okay. Once it's deleted, I want to say get the response, then get the response. Not we don't have to get the response. We just say just get the data, response.json, send the data back. You can also put this in catch try catch block. So we have to delete the accounts. .html, another file to paste here. Delete my account. I thought it's going to be delete. We don't have to send anything. So probably the body is going to be empty. Okay, so content type is going to be application/json. Doesn't really much matter now because we don't have anything there, so we don't have to actually mention the content type. Not even the body. Alright, okay, so we just have to like that. We have to mention this thing in the page section also. Delete account. So the file of delete account. Okay, something happened. That is not defined. Sorry, my bad. App 54. That is not defined. I'm going to say data. Oh, I guess it did delete the data. Yeah, I did delete it in. Basically, for now, once you delete the data, okay, so I want to say first of all delete the data. I want to say constant delete is equal to I'll wait for the deletion. Done. Account deleted. We're going to say response dot clear cookie. Clear the cookie of the name of log user. When we clear the cookie, it's going to send us the new data. So basically, we know that there's no cookie in here. It will not work now. Okay. Now let's go to the register. Let's go to all the way to the start. Okay. Let's say we don't know anything. Register new username with the name of Elderny. Pro. Okay. We got the response. Author is smaller. Say LD-ROM. So user has been registered. I have to register another time. User has already been registered. Good. Let's go to login. Let's say Elderny login with test. What do we see first of all? We'll see if the password is small. LD-ROM 1. What do we see? Is incorrect. Now LD-ROM. What do we see? Username has been logged in and we got the cookie. Good. Now let's go to edit user. Now first of all, let's see if the user was actually added here. So you can see we have this kind of password. At the end we have RC. Just make sure to remember that. Now we have here new pass. You can see here new password. Just click on the edit option and yeah, password has been changed. Here we had RC. Refresh. The password has been changed and encrypted as different thing. I'm going to say delete account and here we just have to say enter, and oh, account is probably deleted. Okay, we didn't saw any response from there. Ah, because I'm sending it shit. My bad. Another time I did the same mistake. But I don't have to say it anything. I will just do like console log account deleted. I will just send here account has been deleted. Okay, so we are probably logged out. You can see. Okay, we are not really much logged out. Actually, the cookies are still there. For the clear cookie, I'm just trying to clear this cookie. I didn't clear the cookie because I had an error in my code. My bad. Let me just do a quick registration of Elderny. LD-ROM. Register. Okay, I need to log in also. Elderny. LD-ROM. Okay, let me delete myself. Delete the account. Moment of truth. Okay, let's like delete account. Okay, we got something. Account has been deleted. Cookie has been cleared, and Mongodb is clear. So guys, congratulations on guys on your authentication stuff. So we did every single thing that was physically possible for us to do. What we did, you can see acknowledged deleted count is equal to 1, which means it was deleted. Good to know. We made a lot bigger code. All was good experience. What we did, we registered the user, we logged in the user, we changed the user password, and we deleted the user account. You can just log out the user by just not deleting the user account and just putting here response.clear cookie. So yeah, that's another thing you can do. And we did put the validation in here so that all of the user things gets validated before it have it goes further on. And we have the user model right there. Okay, according to the user model. Okay, and that was it for this video. I hope you really enjoyed this one. Well, this was a quite good tutorial, to be honest. I was not expecting this tutorial to go 1 hour, but it is what it is. Bye bye, and I will see you in the next one.